So friends, for today's video, I'm going to be doing the mid-year tag, and typically this is the mid-year book tag, but I am tweaking it so that I can talk about stories in all of their forms. I am still going to be doing the actual mid-year book tag over on my book-centered channel, but I still like doing this on this channel as well, as I think it's just a really nice tag that encapsulates everything of the year so far, and then kind of helps look ahead into what's to come. So jumping right into it, the first question is the best thing that I have checked out so far in 2024. And before I answer that, I do want to say, feel free to answer any of these questions in the comments down below. But for me, so far, I think, oh gosh, there's just so many good ones. I'm looking and I'm like, I think I need to not have too many of the same things for each question, because I did really love volume 11 of Spy Family quite a bit. But I think I'm going to say, as a whole, obviously, I have talked a lot about Avatar this year. I think season 2 specifically of Avatar: The Last Airbender really surprised me. There were a couple episodes early on that I wasn't in love with, but besides that, that second season was pretty close to being perfect television. I just think it was phenomenal. So many wonderful episodes, so much fantastic character development, really great action scenes, the plot moved really well, it subverted certain expectations. I just think that second season was great, and they had some very artistic episodes as well, so I loved that second season. Next question, the best sequel. I realized just now I probably could have actually said season 2 of Avatar for this, because it is kind of a follow-up, but I'm gonna say I did love Final Fantasy VII Rebirth as a sequel to Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think if you compare it to Remake, it has improved upon that in pretty much every way, and I think it does a pretty good job of actually doing the remake portion of the entirety of Final Fantasy VII, the original. There have been so many things that I've had so much fun with. I have my complaints as well, but I still, as a whole, think it's a great game, and it's remaking it really well. I'm realizing as I say remaking, that's kind of confusing, because I just said it's a sequel to remake. If it's unclear, I'm sure most of you who are fans of this know, but Final Fantasy VII is a PlayStation 1 game that they then remade, and they called it Final Fantasy VII Remake, and they only in that first portion remade the first chunk of the original game. So they're breaking the original game up into multiple games, and the first entry is called Remake. So Rebirth is the second part, and they're calling it Rebirth. So it's a sequel to Remake, but all of it is a part of the remake of the original. That sounded so confusing, but I'm sure those of you who don't care about video games are like, whatever, I don't need clarification. And if you do care about video games, you already know. So I probably didn't need to go into depth about that. But anyway, I think it's a huge improvement from Final Fantasy VII Remake. And then also Spy Family Volume 11. Loved it. And then Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 2. I still want to throw those out there, even though I said I was going to try not to answer with the same things for every question. Question 3 is a new release I haven't gotten around to yet, but want to, and I'm going to say the DLCs for Final Fantasy 16. I was hoping that I could get through Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and then jump into the DLCs for 16, but Rebirth is quite large, and I knew that going in, but there's just so much to do in that game. I'm not concerned about getting a platinum. I'm never concerned about getting a platinum. I have too many things that I like to do to force myself to do things in a video game that I don't care about. So I'm not worrying about that. But I have taken a lot of time, is my point, with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. And so haven't yet jumped into the DLCs for 16. Plus, I wanted to start 16 over, replay it, and then get into the DLCs, just because I want to experience that story now with all of that additional material. So that's probably the number one thing that I haven't gotten around to yet that I want to. Next up, most anticipated release. Easiest thing to answer, Arcane Season 2. Arcane Season 2. Arcane Season 2. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So excited for Arcane Season 2. I'm also really excited for Shadow of the Erd Tree, but since that's coming out the month this comes up, it really doesn't feel like an anticipated release, even though I am anticipating it, but it's gonna be here soon. But Arcane is still like building. The anticipation's building. I can't wait. Oh my gosh. I really hope it's going to be good. Please be good. I mean, the first season was so good that I have a hard time thinking that it's going to bomb and that the writing is somehow going to have completely derailed itself. I don't think that's going to happen. I have a lot of trust in the studio that is making that, so I'm really excited for Arcane season 2. Biggest disappointment. I know some of you really like it, but probably Ponyo. Just because I have enjoyed every film that I have watched, because I am going through all the films through the studio, and Ponyo, I had watched, I said this in another video at one point, but if you didn't know, I watched Princess Mononoke, and then it was a double feature night where I was watching 2 movies back to back. So I went from Mononoke, which is, oh, that might also be another thing I could have put at the top as the best thing I've checked out. I love Princess Mononoke. But anyway, point is, I watched Princess Mononoke, which I thought was a great film. I'm really picky about movies, and I thought that movie was phenomenal. And then I watched Ponyo, and I'm like, why? Why is this? Why? I don't care for, I liked the little boy, I liked the music, and other than that, I didn't really like much else. So I would say Ponyo has been my biggest disappointment. The biggest surprise would probably be The Wind Rises. This is one that I hadn't heard too many people talk about. It's a little bit controversial as far as a lot of the studio's movies go. So I went in just kind of not knowing what to expect, but not really having many expectations in general. And it's up there for me as a top tier movie that they've done. I really enjoyed it. I think there's so much to dissect. I think there's so much symbolism. And it was actually because we've been doing discussions, in-depth discussions, and getting into spoilers, myself and some of my friends here on the channel, that I was the most excited to talk about that one because there's so much to dissect with it, and it is quite different in a lot of ways, even though it, in a kind of typical fashion, has some kind of reference to, or just in your face, look at, there's planes element to the movie. I don't know, it was just not like a lot of the other films, and I really enjoyed it quite a bit. I don't think that the themes were as obviously altruistic, I'll say. I think that it's a very gray movie, and there's just a lot to get into with that one. So if you are interested in seeing that discussion, I'll have my playlist linked actually for all of the discussions for that. But The Wind Rises in particular, I was just really caught off guard by how much I loved it. The next question is usually your newest favorite author, but obviously that is going to be a little bit different here. So I'm just putting the creator, somebody who has created something, and I'm going to say the composer for Princess Mononoke, because the music in that movie, the music in all of those is phenomenal, but that one in particular, Ashitaka's theme is so good. I sent my friends, I was like messing around, trying to learn on my violin, that's what this is. I was like playing a little bit of the theme from Howl's Moving Castle. The Merry-Go-Round of Life, I believe is the name of the piece. And then I was like, you know, I want to learn some of the stuff from Mononoke. So then I started listening to Ashitaka's theme and just like crying. It's so beautiful. I love orchestral music, which probably isn't a surprise given that I ended up majoring in strings pedagogy. But that piece in particular is stunning, beautiful, emotional, dark, hopeful, everything that I want in an orchestral symphonic piece. It is so good. It's so good. If you haven't listened to it, you should. I mean, the whole soundtrack is great, but and I mean, a lot of the themes kind of come back. Whatever, I don't think most of you care. But a lot of the themes come back throughout the soundtrack. That piece in particular, though, is so good. So, the composer. I fell in love with that music. The next question is your newest favorite character, and this is a toss-up between probably Appa from Avatar. I could have said so many of the characters from Avatar, so we'll just say the characters from Avatar, but Appa, you know, I have such a soft spot for the animal companion or mythological creature companion, and Appa is precious. Anytime he opens his mouth and makes a big noise, I feel like my husband and I always are like, oh, and doing that too. I don't know why, but I just love Appa. He's so sweet. But then, maybe more seriously, Ashitaka, I think it is so difficult to have that sort of hero, I have no enemies, they are truly living by their ideals character that doesn't come across bland. And for me, Ashitaka didn't. I think he's awesome, he's incredible, he's compassionate, and he is just a top tier character in my opinion. Absolutely, absolutely love him. Not just a new favorite character from this year, a new favorite character of all time. He is great. The next one is something that made you cry. I already talked about the music from Princess Mononoke, not the movie itself. Later on when I listened to the music. I rewatched some scenes from Ghost of Tsushima, which I do continue to play the online version of, and now I want to go back and replay it, the actual story of the game, because I was rewatching some scenes from it, and that got me really choked up. And then I almost cried. I don't really cry when I read things. I don't usually cry watching things either, but these are all things that made me really emotional, and Spy Family Volume 11 made me very emotional as well. Opposite of that, something that made you very happy. So Kiki's Delivery Service is so cute. It's melancholy and precious. And then My Neighbor Totoro, I now understand the iconic nature that is that film. It was so adorable and precious, and I can imagine just throwing that or Kiki's Delivery Service on while doing stuff around the house and just hearing the occasional line and being happy doing laundry or dusting or whatever. It's just so cute. It's so cute. And then I also put the movie Spy Family Code White, because that was hilarious and a lot of fun, and it felt a little fan servicey, but I mean, that's who's going to go see that movie, right? Are the fans. And it was great and ridiculous, and I really enjoyed it. The next question is your favorite video that you've put up. And I always feel weird about this, but I did put a decent amount of effort into my Witch Hat Atelier Why You Should Read It video, or I think I said something like an underhyped manga that you need to read because I love it. I did a fair amount of editing in that I really enjoyed, even though it took so much time, and I didn't care because I really genuinely think that series deserves more love, and I wanted the video to present it in the best way possible. So I wanted the editing to match as close as possible the quality of that, which I'm not trying to by any means. I realized as I was saying that it sounds like I'm saying my video is on par with Witch Hat Atelier, which isn't what I mean. I just really want people to not be deterred from it because of bad editing or I'm not presenting it well. So I put a lot of effort into that. That's my main point. Also, randomly, my video about other video games that I think deserve remakes, just because it sort of took me down memory lane, and now I really want remakes for all of those games. There's a little part of me that's like, can someone just make my wish come true and make all those games? Can they just remake them? Because the games that I talk about in the remakes video, they deserve remakes. They would be so good. The next question. Most beautiful, usually it's the most beautiful book you've gotten, but obviously it's a little different here. So I am just going to shift this to something I've gotten that's related to the things I talk about here on this channel. And I'm just going to say Hot Topic has some pretty cool shirts that are related to a lot of what I like. So does the store Box Lunch, because they're basically the same, except for one of them's like, do you like a preppy version or more of a edgy version? You have both. But I find a lot of Ghibli stuff there. I find a lot of I've gotten some arcane stuff there, anime stuff there. They've got some fun stuff. So I'm just going to say Hot Topic shirts. I really enjoy Hot Topic and Box Lunch. Next, what do I really need to get to by the end of the year? That's the last question for this. And I'm going to say at the beginning of the year, I did a video of pretty much 24 things I wanted to try to get around to in 2024. And the things that I haven't checked out yet from that list would be the things I need to get around to. After I finish going through my Avatar video series that I'm doing, I plan to pick up with Attack on Titan. So I suppose that's the next big thing. But there's a lot of things from that list that I have to still get around to. But anyway, that's it for the mid-year tag. Let me know some of your answers to these questions. Let me know your thoughts about any of the things that I mentioned. Thanks so much for watching, though. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later.